Good morning. Welcome to Happy Acres Farm. Today is August the 19th, 2014. On our last video, we have had a lot of questions in regards to our misting system and how we make our boxes. So what I'd like to do today, or this morning, is just give you an idea of how we do our boxes for our misting system for rooting. And I'm going to show you our misters, and then you can hopefully make some boxes and some root. Hopefully you'll be able to root some plants. So I'm going to take the camera. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What we're doing right here, we're making a box for our rootings. What you want to do is you want to put you about an inch, maybe 2 inches of sand in the bottom. You can go ahead and pour that in there if you would. And then what we use is we use pure pine bark. And this pine bark has been aged and it's ground up pretty good. And we'll fill the box up to the top. Now we're not going to be using this particular box for blueberry cuttings this year. We're going to be, my mother's going to be making roses or do some rose cutting. So I'm going to take you over to the box we're going to actually be using. This box is full of chopped up pine bark, as you can see. And we've already misted and gotten the soil or the compost ready to accept plants. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you the misting system. As far as the misters go, what I did is I went to Tractor Supply and I purchased some nozzles that go on the end of actual spray wands, like if you're going to spray Roundup or something like that. I took some 1/2-inch PVC and I designed, in this case, we have 6 nozzles, as you can see, that are going to be misting. And I simply took a drill, and once I capped it and PVC'd it and capped it, I took a drill and drilled the holes out, and then I tapped it. And I took this nozzle tip, wand tip, and screwed it into it, and then I adjusted it so that we get a fine mist out of it. The object, because you have plants that don't have any roots, is to mainly just keep it cool and keep it moist, but you don't want a lot of water on it. That was the mister actually cutting on. Right now I've got it set for 4 minutes just to demonstrate the sprayers. As you can see, it does a fairly good job of just putting water down on where the plant's going to actually be at. The reason that the arms are up in the air, I'll tell you, I learned the hard way. If the arms were leaning down, once the misters turn off and you're in your waiting cycle, the water will actually run out of the pipe. So when your valve, which is located right here, activates to turn water on, it actually has to fill the entire pipe back up with water, and then it'll spray. By having a 4-second or 5-second spray, you're not going to get the entire spraying on your plants. So I figured out that if I keep the nozzles up high like this, the most water that will run out of it will be right from here. So as you can see, I'm getting a fairly instant spray. Right now this tube is full completely with water up to about right there where it may drip out slightly. And then when it sprays, it only has to fill water right here, and then it comes out the nozzle. So I'll get another spray out of it and show you, and then we'll go up to the orchard and actually get some cuttings so we can bring them back and root them. While we're waiting for it to spray, other individuals have wanted to know what kind of timer that I use. I actually write PLC programs. I worked as an electrical engineer for Georgia Pacific and was taught PLC programming. We're running a industrial D6 style PLC controller for our packaging facility, and I wrote a simple rung program that activates and deactivates. There we go. See how quick it comes on and then it cuts off, and you have very little dripping. But I wrote a rung program that actually does the controlling of these valves. So if you wish to if you write PLC programming, then just email me and I'll be more than glad to send you a copy of it. You can use any kind of timer. We time about every 10 minutes to 11 minutes, depends on, I guess, how hot it is. We spray, and we spray for approximately 3 to 4 seconds. And again, the idea is to simply put a fine mist on top of where your plants are at, and it keeps it cool around it until the roots can form. So now with that said, we're going to go up to our orchard, and there's my helper, and we're going to get us some cuttings. So we'll be, well, we made it to the orchards. This particular orchard is named North Blueberry Orchard. We have 3 varieties here. We have the Premier variety, which is what we're looking at, the first 2.5 rows. We have the Powder Blues, which are gorgeous, gorgeous blueberries. And then we have Brightwell blueberries, which is the last 3 rows. We have 11 rows of this particular orchard. As you can see, I'm going to zoom in. You can see all the new growth that has sprouted up since we finished harvesting. The plants, once their berries are removed, they kind of go into a I'm going to grow mode. And that's why this is a good time. First part of August is a good time to get your cuttings. As you can see, there are plenty of cuttings here to be taken. And we're going to be taking cuttings off of the Premiers today. And one thing we're doing different this year that we have not been doing is that if you by chance would like to have some of these Premier cuttings, or any of the other cuttings that we've got, the Brightwells or the Powder Blues or the Legacies, if you go to our website, you can actually order these cuttings from us, and we can ship them to you, and you can do your own rooting and have your own plants within a matter of about a year, and blueberries in about 2 years. So let's get up there and get some cuttings done. As you can see, again, these are the Premiers. We have got a lot of new growth. This particular shoot grew from when I cut it last year up to the sky, up to here. And you notice that the tip of it is kind of limp, but it's upright, it's erect, it's holding itself. That'll be one of the cuttings that we will take. And I'll show you how to take your cuttings and how to take care of your cuttings. These are all new growths. You can see this is where the berries were last year. So you won't get any berries here next year. You'll get berries all on your new growth. And as you can see, we have more cuttings that will be taken, more shoots that will be taken off these plants. And with that said, I'm going to turn the camera over to my little helper and let her record while we take some cuttings and show you how to take them. Ready? Mm-hmm. Now, come in here and look. Can you see right here? This is last year's growth. This is all of our New Year growth. That came in this summer. This is our New Year growth. You can actually take this growth. What you want to do is cut the top of your plant off, which is called hedging. What that allows the plant to do is it allows the plant to bush out a little bit. And so without removing all of my new growth, what you want to do is just simply come in, save some of your new growth, and then just clip it off. This particular long one right here, I'm going to cut it off about right here because I don't want the plant to be super tall. As you notice, I'm just putting them in my hand very carefully. Here's one right here. I'm going to take this piece right here. I'm going to cut it back. It's growing into the bush. That'll be a cutting. And here's one here I'll take. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut. And you just look, now this particular plant right here, summer, we will not have any berries on this particular shoot right here because you have to have new growth. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of hedge the top of this plant off. I'm just going to cut it right here. And what that'll do is that'll actually give us another rooting that we can take off of it. If you look at this particular plant, this plant has a lot. All right, this one is growing outward, and what'll happen is it'll continue growing way out here. So I'm going to cut it off about right here. You've got triple plants right here. So I'm going to take this one off somewhere down in here. Cut it off about here. Here's my phone ringing. Cut it off about right here. About right here. Here. Alrighty. Now what you want to do before you come up to get your cuttings or go to your orchard to get your cuttings is you want to make sure you have a container to carry your cuttings back in. We use a styrofoam holder. helps keep the plants semi-cool. We don't want them to get too hot. We're having an overcast day right now. It's still morning time, but we don't want to do this during the sun. Take your cuttings. As soon as you cut them, you bring them over. Get your bottle of cool water, and you want to mist them. Get them good and wet, because now the plant can no longer absorb water through the roots. It has to absorb water through the leaves. So you have to make sure that they're moist. So my assistant's going to hold this, and I'll show you how you do it. Don't get too close, okay? What I'll do is I'll take a plant and I'll pull a few of the leaves off. Once I get to some pretty sturdy wood, I'll just strip it back like this, and I don't worry so much about the length right now. Here's a real nice one. I'll go to the top, pull the top leaves, maybe 3 at the top. Once I get a good area where I can hold it at, is I'll simply pull the leaves off. Here is one that is very, very, very brand new, so we're going to be very careful with it because they'll break off. I'm going to take a couple of the top leaves off of it, and then come down and then hold it firmly and peel the leaves off of it. Again, the length of it doesn't matter. I'll show you why in just a minute. Here's another one. We're going to pull some of the leaves off of it, and then we're going to carefully take all the leaves off of it. And let me do this and we'll be back. Maybe not. I don't know what it looks like. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your cuttings. You're going to pull your leaves off. And you're going to have cuttings like this. Now what I'll do is I'll take the tips of them and I'll put them about the same length. Like this. And then what I'll do is I use my hand as a guide. And I'll just put my hand in like this, and I'll cut them all about the same length. Here we've got 2, 4, 6, we got 8 of them right here. What you want to do with them, you want to make sure they stay wet. So I'll take a Ziploc bag, and I'll simply just drop them down in the bag. And then I'll mist them again. I'll keep water on them. Now I'll take these. These are newer. That one, nice length, a little short. That one, put the short ones over here. That one. Just put your tips together. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I'll take my hand, I'll put my hand around it as a length, and I'll look at them about like that, and I say, okay, we'll cut them about right there, and then I'm gonna mist them. Mist the bottom so they get water, mist the tops. So I now have 18. I'd like to put about 25 in a bag just so I can keep track of them. So it's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, actually 25. I put about 50 in a bag. I use my hand as a guide. They're all about the same length. I'll come in, cut them about there, mist it, put them in my bag, and there I have 25 in this particular bag. Alright, as you can see, I've gotten a bag. Inside the bag is 50 cuttings, and I want you to notice that there's the moisture inside of the bag, so the moisture will be absorbed by the cuttings. Remember, no roots. The only way that they can have water now is through the leaves and through the stems. So make sure you mist them good, and then what we'll do is we'll place them in this container right here, and I'll mist it again to make it wet inside the container, and then we'll go get some more cuttings. Alright, we'll be back. Alright, we're back at the greenhouse. We've got 200 Premier cuttings that we're going to be putting into the soil. But I'd like to mention something. One of our followers commented that root tone or some type of hormone should not be used on plants that are going to be edible. I did go online and I did look, and I did find this particular brand, Root Hormone, does state on its instructions not to be used on any plants that are going to be consumed. So I did go and find that out. Now, I didn't contact them to find out why. Particular product states on there it is not to be used on plants that are to be used for food or feed. Now, why, I do not know. I went online and I looked at the garden safe variety of the take root. It states in there that it does not recommend it for fruit trees. However, the question was asked, is it unsafe? And the company replied, no, it's not a matter of it being unsafe. It's a matter that it wasn't designed for fruit trees. Then I read further and asked, is it allowed to be used on blueberries? And the company responded back, absolutely, it works fantastic on blueberries. So we're going to be using the take root rooting hormone for today's rootings. Alrighty, let's put some. One thing we're going to be doing different this year. Last year we just put them in the ground. This year we're going to actually measure out where they're going to go. I've got some information from North Carolina State University. They recommend that they may be 1 inch apart all 4 sides. So what I've done is I've made a ruler that has 1 inch increments and it's 1 inch thick. So what we'll do is we'll start 1 inch in, and that's where we're going to be putting the plants at. And then every time we put a row of plants in, we'll move over an inch, and eventually put the plants in. So let me cut some rows and I'll be right back. Alright, what I'm going to do, we're going to take this particular cutting, we're going to dip it in water, we're going to dip it in the hormone, and then I'm going to go on the 1 inch mark. I'm going to place it down into it about 2 inches, and then I'm going to kind of pinch around it. I'm going to take another cutting, dip it in water, put it in the hormone, go to the other inch mark, and I'm going to push it down into it, packing around it. And if you just continue what I'm doing, hormone, what I'm doing is I'm actually stabbing it deep into it so it can push it up, put plenty of hormone on it, and then go to the 1 inch mark and just push it down in there. And you can try to make them about the same level. And we're going to do that, and I'll show you when we're done. Alright, that's 200 premieres, and hopefully we'll get 200 of them to root and we'll have plants for next year. Alrighty, thank you.